All right, welcome everybody to day one of the Gut Health Fall Challenge. I am so excited that you guys have joined me for this week as we talk about gut health. Now, I am so excited about this because I'm here to get you thinking deep about your gut health this week so I can help you launch some transformative change within your gut. I always start with gut health with every client that I work with because I do believe that it's foundational to the formation of your hormones. I do believe that it's foundational to your sleep. I do believe it's foundational to your weight gain. So, if we can get to the bottom of it and actually figure out why you're struggling with the symptoms that you have, then we can solve one of the root cause issues for your health. Over and over again, over the years, I know that I have seen women who are struggling with their health that need to hit up these 5 areas that we're going to hit this week. We're going to start from the top and go all the way down so that we can actually make a change that is long lasting. I do want to recommend that if you're into reading this book, Super Gut by William Davis is fantastic. If you want to get really in depth and sciencey, it's going to be fantastic. So just know this week we're going to start at the top and then we're going to work our way down. So today we're going to talk about oral health and how it impacts your gut microbiome. We're going to talk about stomach health. We'll talk about small intestine health. We're going to talk about liver detoxification health, how that impacts your gut, and we'll talk about the large intestine and your bowel movements. It's going to be mind-blowing. So many people do not realize how much your mouth and oral health can impact your gut health. We don't even actually fully connect the two together in our brains for some reason. But anatomically, the gut starts with the mouth. So if you think about what you put in, goes down the esophagus, into the stomach, the small intestines, the large intestines, and then it comes out in elimination. So, but for some reason, we kind of keep it to this area. We don't even think about this part and how it's influencing what goes down the chain. But when we step back and think about whole person wellness, we got to look at from the start how what we put in our mouth is influenced before it comes out and does the other jobs. So if you have bloating, heartburn, explosive diarrhea, constipation, signs of IBS, Crohn's disease, you have multiple food sensitivities, and all other kinds of signs and symptoms that just don't make sense, you have to start with the mouth. So oral health, gut health, it all has to do with bacteria. Bacteria, good bacteria and bad bacteria, when they get out of balance, it's called dysbiosis. And that imbalance is what causes a whole host of issues. You want both of them to be present in the gut and in the mouth, but you don't want one to be more dominant than the other. There has to be some sort of balance. So bacteria and inflammation in the mouth can impact the rest of the GI tract. You swallow liters of saliva a day. So whatever bacteria is in that saliva, you're swallowing it, it's going all the way down to the rest of the GI tracts. Just because you don't have symptoms in your mouth, or you just don't realize it, it doesn't mean that we don't have to look there as kind of the first line of defense as we talk about healing the gut. So, without functional lab testing and stool analysis that kind of show you how your bacteria is at the end of the large intestine, let's do some quick tests at home to look at the mouth and try to have an aha moment that is like, okay, I understand what the state of my gut is just based on looking in the mirror. So today, for this challenge, we're going to assess your oral microbiome by looking at 3 signs. The first one, we're going to take a look at your tongue. So everybody hold out, stick out your tongue at me. Look in the mirror, take a selfie. Is it pink? Does it look healthy? Is there a coat on it or a film? And that doesn't just mean just at the front of the tongue, it could be further back in the tongue as well. A white or yellow coating on the tongue actually indicates an overgrowth of bacteria or fungi. So it could be candida, it could be a parasitic load. You have biofilms building up in your mouth all the time. That's why you have to floss and brush your teeth, or you'll get a buildup of plaque and all of that. But we don't often think about it building up on the tongue. It can build up there as well. And that is the first sign that you want to look at for you to know what's going on the inside. If there's candida on your tongue, there's candida in your gut. And you can either feed the candida by eating lots of sugary things, or you can starve the candida. But you have to know what you're working with in order to know how you need to be eating. The second thing that I want you to look at today are fissures. So fissures are kind of like cracks or canyons in the tongue, and they can be across along the sides or down the middle. They can be different depths and different intensities for different people. They could be historic fissures, like you've had them, you had an unhealthy gut at one point and now you have a healthier gut and they're still there, or they could be current fissures. You really want to take a look at what kind of fissures you have so that you know, okay, is this getting worse? Is this an early sign that something isn't right within my gut? You don't want to get to the point where you're one of those people on Google that's like an example of what a tongue fissure looks like. If you're not sure of what a tongue fissure looks like, you can always Google, but know that those are extreme, kind of the people that are so far gone. Yours may not look quite like that, but if there are any cracks or lines, you have the first warning signs that your gut is not as healthy as it needs to be. So, if you do have some fissures, my question is always, what's happening with your stomach acid? Most commonly, there's low stomach acid, and that can actually mimic signs of high stomach acid. So, if you are taking an antacid or on some sort of prescription medication for an acid because you have heartburn, you might want to double check that, because the signs of low stomach acid and high stomach acid are the same. And when there's a low stomach acid issue, you actually don't break down your food as well, and the nutrients are not absorbed properly. So you actually see that lack of nutrition in the tongue, in cracking, and it doesn't heal the way that it needs to. The location of fissures can also tell us a bit about your gut health. We know that different parts of the tongue are connected with different parts of our other GI system. The front of the tongue is more associated with the stomach, and the middle is associated more with the small intestine, and the large towards the back is more associated with the large intestine. So depending on where you see those fissures could tell you a little bit of a sign where the breakdown could be. The third sign that I want you to look at is scalloping on the edge of the tongue, or ridges. So it'll look like wavy lines, and the more ridges, the more disruption there is in the gut because of the exchange of saliva. It could also tell us that there are some mineral deficiencies like zinc and selenium, for instance. It also could tell us there's an inflammation problem. So a swollen tongue will imprint on the sides of the teeth and cause those ridges. And oftentimes people will clench or grind and clench down on their tongue, and they think it's just a TMD problem with a jaw issue, but it could also be that your tongue is swollen and inflamed and imprinting on the sides of your teeth. And as the swelling goes down in the tongue, the stomach health is improving, and you'll see that change and decrease in scalloping. So this imbalance in the oral microbiome, these issues that you're seeing there they are telltale signs that there is a digestion issue from the start. From the minute you put something in your mouth, digestion is suffering. So make sure you look at your tongue and examine color, if there are any films, fissures, scalloping, and look at your family as well. Have your kids stick their tongues out, and you can kind of see what's going on with their stomach health and try to help. Um, if you want to, you can always take a picture of your tongue, and if you're in the Facebook group, you can post it in the comments, and I can always give you some feedback or a heads up on what I'm seeing there. But regardless, let's talk about, okay, you're seeing some things going on with your tongue. What do you do about it? I'm going to give you 3 simple steps. The first step, if you want to really look at the root causes, is don't use normal marketed toothpaste and normal marketed mouthwash all the time. Now just hear me out. It is killing bacteria. That is true, but they are designed to kill bacteria, all bacteria. They're not selective in good bacteria versus bad bacteria. So we don't want to kill everything in our mouth, and this could be the downfall of a lot of the start of our gut health issues, is because we're killing all the good bacteria in our mouths and not getting any that into our other parts of our GI tract. So just think about when you're using those mouthwashes and toothpaste, you're pretty much using a strong detergent in your mouth every single day, multiple times a day, and it's going to upset everything else down the way. So I suggest using a binder like Quicksilver Ultra Binder. It is a mix of kind of charcoal-y things and clay that you can just put the powder on your toothbrush and start scrubbing in the same way you would a toothpaste, and you'll get a nice black smile, and it'll start to break down the bad stuff and leave the good stuff behind in a selective way. So it will help you start to balance that oral microbiome. The second thing you can do is to swish with 3 squirts of dental Sidon for 2 to 3 minutes. This is like your mouthwash, but it's going to be selective and kill off the bad bacteria in your mouth. It's based with essential oils, and it's not going to kill all the good stuff. It's going to selectively kill the bad stuff. The film that you see on your tongue will slowly get destroyed. So you're going to do it in the morning and do it the last thing before you go to bed, and let that sit, let that residue sit in your mouth. And that way, when you're swallowing saliva, you're going to be swallowing some of that down too. So definitely a good thing to do to try to get that bad bacteria out of there. The final thing, there's a huge connection between nitric oxide levels and the antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory effects that it has in the mouth. If you did not see my talk on nitric oxide a few months ago, it's in YouTube, it's in Facebook. Please go back and listen to that, because it is so important. Nitric oxide helps blood circulation and oxygenation of your tissues, including your oral tissues. So it can help optimize nitric oxide levels in your saliva. And we're going to talk about it even more with stomach health too. So you're going to hear me talk about nitric oxide a lot. But if you take 1 Neo 40 lozenge 2 times a day, allow them to dissolve slowly in your mouth, it's going to help uptake your nitric oxide level, and that can improve your oral microbial balance and reduce inflammation that could propagate down the GI tract. So think about, you're giving good food to good bacteria. So 3 simple steps to start forming your oral habit stack. 3 things that you could do in the evening, in the morning, that are easy: a brush, a wash, and a lozenge. Not going to take up a ton of time, but that will make a huge impact on the start of forming good gut health. So I will put all the links for those products that I talked about today in the comments below. I just like to make good products available to you guys so that when I talk about how to improve your oral gut health, you have good resources. And don't forget that if you are going to purchase anything, to use the code fall10 when you check out. So make sure you use the code fall10 when you check out, and you will get 10% off in the e-store for using the code fall10. So let me know if you have any questions, comment below, and I cannot wait to keep this conversation rolling on day 2, where we're going to talk about stomach health. Good night, guys. I hope you have a wonderful evening.